Annyeonghaseyo, my name is Katie and today I'm going to be reviewing Marriage Contract. It is a 16-episode melodrama that just finished airing. Marriage Contract stars Yui and Lee So-jin along with Shin Rin-ah. The story centers around a single mother who finds out she has a brain tumor and does not have long to live. She agrees to enter a marriage contract with her boss so that she can give her liver to his dying mother, and hopefully she can get money to support her child before she herself dies. But of course, through the contract they end up developing real feelings for each other and complications arise. Now, Marriage Contract sounds very cliche, and that's because it is. It's a very, very cliche show. But I was very pleasantly surprised when the cliches were turned into something that felt refreshing and somewhat new, despite the whole show being a literal cliche. I mean, it's called Marriage Contract. That's a K-drama trope cliche. I mean, Marriage Contract has actually gotten the highest ratings for a contract marriage drama since Princess Hours, so there is good reason to watch this. There's definitely a reason why it's getting those ratings. I think it broke like 21% or something, which is actually really high. There were so many things about this drama that could have gone wrong. I've watched several dramas centering around terminal illness, Scent of a Woman, 1 Liter of Tears, and the thing with dramas that center around illness is that they can be very depressing if they are not done correctly. I loved that Marriage Contract was done correctly. It was very well done. So first of all, the acting. It was a very interesting cast because we have Yui, who is 28 years old, and then we have Lee So-jin, who is 43 years old, and usually we don't see an age gap like that between the main couple. I was very skeptical about it at first just because I've seen bits of Yui's acting before. I think she was in You're Beautiful, and I watched part of Birdie Buddy, which, you know, I'm a golfer, so I was kind of curious, but it wasn't that good, so I haven't finished it. I haven't watched High Society or anything else where Yui plays a more main role, but overall I haven't really been too impressed with her acting, and I haven't seen Lee So-jin in anything before now, so it was pretty much all a surprise to me. I've heard many complaints about Yui's acting, just it not being good, but in Marriage Contract she put everything into this role. She did a very good job. I was very convinced by her character. She made me feel things. She just portrayed her character so well. A lot of people were concerned that she was a little young to already be playing a mother, but I think she did a very convincing job. I was very pleasantly surprised. And Lee So-jin, I had not seen him in anything until now, but he was very good as well. His character was kind of the typical arrogant jerk male lead, but inside he's really like a fluffy teddy bear. He's very soft inside, so I actually really liked his character. There was no point where I hated him. He wasn't that bad of a person. He just kind of came from a tragic background. So together he and Yui somehow pulled off a very convincing couple. Their chemistry was actually really good, which I was not expecting at all, and I was just very pleasantly surprised by all of this. I mentioned Shin Rin-ah was in this as well. She is only 6 years old. She's a child actress. I actually loved her character. She played Yui's daughter in the show. She played a crucial part because a big conflict was after Yui's character found out she was going to die, she needed to figure out what was going to happen to her daughter after she was gone. So Shin Rin-ah's character was very prominent throughout the show, and I really, really liked her character. I wouldn't expect a performance like that from a child, but she did a very good job. I mean, if she ever wanted to pursue an acting career later when she gets older, I could see her doing amazing things. Like I said, the plot is fairly simple, and I think that was actually what made Marriage Contract so refreshing, I guess. Usually K-drama plots are crazy, all over the place, over the top, but Marriage Contract kept it simple. You know, we had our main character who was dying, we had the marriage contract, and that was pretty much it. I mean, it sounds like it could get boring, but it wasn't, because we had all these little bumps and obstacles along the way that weren't like huge crazy plot twists. They kept the story going, but they didn't steer the show in the direction of a typical K-drama. I think the show did a really good job of emphasizing the simple things in life. We got a lot of scenes where the characters were doing mundane things, but they made them seem very special. Things like playing with cats, or going to the park and riding your bike, or eating ice cream. They just took these things and they made them into something that felt really special, which is really cool because, like, you know, in Boys Over Flowers, to declare love, Junpyo takes Jandy to an island and puts on a fireworks display. There was none of that stuff in this. This was very simple. simple, and it felt really raw. So like, even though there were no crazy fireworks display confessions of love in this show, it felt very real, and I think that was really nice for a change. Yes, the male lead was rich, came from a well-off family, but he didn't do any over-the-top stuff. He didn't really display his emotions like that, and I really liked that for a change. It definitely put a different dynamic on our main couple's relationship and maybe made it a bit more realistic. The drama also had a very interesting feel to it. A lot of people have mentioned, and I agree with this, it has a very nostalgic and classic feel. It feels like a classic drama, like something from maybe a decade or so back. It just feels like one of those shows where the way they dress, the way they act, the music, even the way it's filmed and directed, it just feels like a classic drama. It just kind of felt like a throwback to some older dramas, and that was really cool because dramas have definitely changed over the years. And while this was certainly modern, it definitely had the new drama feel to it. It also felt really classic and kind of timeless, I guess. I really liked the music as well. I think the OST only has 2 songs on it, but it was very nice. The songs, I didn't notice them being overplayed. They might have been overplayed because sometimes there's those songs that stand out so much that you just can tell when they're being played at every possible moment during a drama. Whether they were overplayed or not in the show, I didn't notice because I felt like they added to the overall mood and feeling of the show in a very good way and actually added to the nostalgia factor. The OST was very nostalgic. It felt so good, and it was just really nice. It has some nice piano, nice vocals. It was just well put together. Thumbs up for the OST. Overall, I really enjoyed Marriage Contract. It was very cliche, but somehow worked out to feeling like something new and refreshing, which was really cool because there were so many cliches in this show, but it felt good. I think the acting, the OST, the directing, the writing, all of it was well done to create a just solid, consistent drama. There was no point where I felt really bored with the show or I just wanted it to move on. It felt really good. It was a good show. And while illness-centered stories can be very depressing, I think that they focused more on the appreciating life factor. The last episode was actually one of the happier episodes, which is kind of weird for an illness-centered drama. And while the ending was rather ambiguous, I thought it was good. It felt final. It felt very final. And yeah, it is sad. I can't remember if I really cried during the show. I might have at some point. I didn't cry in the last episode, but it was very emotional. It made me feel a lot of things without making me break out into ugly tears, which was nice for a change. I was very emotional while watching this, but I wasn't flat out crying, which was kind of weird. Like, it made me feel different things than normal sad dramas. Overall, I really enjoyed Marriage Contract. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I think the directing, the scripting, the filming, the OST, the acting, everything came together really well. There were some very beautiful scenes that took place on the beach. I am a sucker for good sceneries, and there were some very nice sceneries that were simple. They weren't super extravagant or over the top, but they were gorgeous just because of the simplicity of it all, and I think that actually is what this whole drama was about. It was very simplistic and basic, but very well done. The execution was outstanding. So I would definitely recommend watching Marriage Contract. It reminds me a lot of Scent of a Woman. I actually think I like Marriage Contract more than Scent of a Woman, so I would definitely give it a shot if you enjoyed that. It's definitely a melodrama. It's not a rom-com by any means, but even if you're not a fan of melodramas, I would give this one a shot because it's not overly depressing and it's not overly melodramatic. It's just good, which was cool because even though there were the typical evil characters, frustrating parents, exes showing up, I wasn't even super annoyed with them because they were dealt with in a very good manner. So overall, Marriage Contract was very good. I would definitely recommend it. I gave it 8.5 out of 10. Down in the comments, let me know what you thought of Marriage Contract. I am happy to discuss, and give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and Hannah and I will see you soon. Annyeong.